Now join the palms. And repeat after me. I take refuge in the Buddha. I take refuge in the Dharma. I take refuge in the Sangha. Keeping the palms joined. Put the palms down. All right, good morning, everybody. Good to see you all here on a beautiful Saturday morning. It's, for those who hear me when I shared it last time, I've been staring at the screen for a long time, with COVID and us adjusting things. And it wasn't until very recently that I realized, because, you're looking at the screen and all I see is myself. And that's kind of annoying when you're trying to lead a class. And then I realized not that long ago that I also get to see the statue behind me. So all of a sudden it changed everything. So if I'm not looking at you anymore, you'll understand why. Don't take it personally. What brings you all here on a Saturday morning? Who's here for the first time? Anybody? All regulars? So why do you come back? Yeah.
I feel better than I did. I feel better when I leave than I did.
When you showed up? Feel better when you leave than when you showed up?
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. What else? Why show up? Stay grounded. Yep. Sangha, community. What else? Why show up? I know lots of you showed up because of the cleaning day we're having after class today, so I appreciate all of that. What else? Why show up? What keeps you from being grounded when you're not here? Say again?
My mind.
Your mind?
Yeah.
What?
Outside distractions.
Outside distractions? Are those ever going to go away?
No. It's a practice.
Yes. It's good to remember that,
Focus our attention.
To focus our intention. Yeah. Kara?
To take the way I feel here to my driving.
To take the way you feel here to driving outside. Very specific. So when you're driving home, please stay away from Kara today if you drove. Anyone else have difficulty driving and just appreciate the honesty. You want to elaborate on that? This guy I already know, but
It just seems like it's crazier and crazier.
the driving?
So, yeah.
In what way?
Just people driving erratically. Traffic's just crazier.
Yeah.
No one uses their blinkers.
Yeah. Those darn people who don't use their blinkers, Feel free to grab it. There's chairs here if you'd like. Yeah. You don't have to go straight to the back because then I have to yell and it's going to be hard for you to hear me. Thanks.
Which more specifically is to not react to situations, right? And that's what I get here is there's nothing to react to but breathing. But
Right.
to remember that outside in all things.
Yeah.
It's really helpful to keep coming back here on Saturdays to practice it.
Yeah, simple reminders, because those things, those outside distractions, the people who drive and don't use those blinkers and are crazy drivers, which I'm sure was never you at any point in your life, they're always going to be there. And I always joke about saying I could write a whole book on like Buddhism tied to driving, because there's so much going on there, like the selfishness that occurs. If you did drive here today, just watch your mind. It's a really fascinating thing. When you're driving, if you're on a 2-lane road or a freeway or whatever it is, and when you see the person in front of you either slow down, or you see the person, to the right or left of you, whatever side it is, and their blinker is on and they want to get over, there is something that occurs immediately in your mind without you even recognizing it. It happens so quick. And there's a lot of kind of variations to this or extremes to this, kind of on the spectrum. But it's somewhere along the lines of, I am totally fine with this person coming over, to no way. And that thought will happen instantly. And recognize that, like, wow, it really bothered me that this person simply wanted to move their vehicle in front of my vehicle. I don't know who they are. I don't know where they're going. They don't know anything about me. I don't know anything about them. It didn't change my life one bit. But something that arises in us when that happens is really important to pay attention to, regardless of what arises. But little moments like that really do give us great insight into what? What is this practice all about? Insight into our mind, ourselves, right? Because ultimately, as we know, it's not about the distractions around us or the drivers or the people or anything like that. This practice is all about our mind and our reaction to the world around us. That's it. So with that being said, we will practice that right now. To all of those who are joining us virtually, welcome. Feel free. I see you already have, and I'm way behind on all of our YouTube followers, but thanks for joining us, and feel free to share your thoughts and introduce yourself to everybody else who's here. So, Amy shared, so true, Jeff. I saw it in myself this morning in just 4 short blocks. So, yes, Amy, thank you for sharing. We all feel your pain. All right, so we'll start with the meditation practice. A couple things to tell you before we begin, especially for those who might be new. Nothing's going to happen to you. You won't float away. You won't have any mystical, magical experiences. The mind that races all day long is not going to shut off. Don't judge your practice, meaning don't ask yourself, is this working or not working? Are you doing it right or doing it wrong? We're just going to sit, we're going to breathe. You'll hear sounds inside, sounds outside. This is life. Practice is learning to be quiet and still with all the chaos around us, okay? Don't expect anything. If you're waiting for some grand aha moments or deep realizations, you'll be quite disappointed. We're just going to sit, we're going to breathe. Posture, if you are in a cushion or in a chair, either way, or bench, it helps often. Slide into the front third, pushing the stomach forward, allows the back to straighten. Shoulders are relaxed. Hands can be on the knees or in the lap, whatever is comfortable. I will guide us as we begin, and we'll settle into a little bit of silence. Most important, do not expect anything from this practice. We're just going to sit and breathe. And starting with the eyes closed, if comfortable, or slightly open. Mouth is open or closed. We'll start with taking 3 deep breaths, slowly. And eventually, we'll settle into a natural rhythm of the breath. Noticing the mind as it wanders, jumping from thought to thought. We'll start with gently guiding the attention, focus to the stomach or chest. Breathing in, feel them rise. Breathing out, they fall. Simply continue this practice, observing sensation of breath. Expecting nothing but to sit and breathe. As the mind wanders, lost in thought, recognize it. Release that thought. Return attention, focus to the breath. Letting go of expectations. Letting go of judgment from the practice. Just sitting. Breathing. learning to be comfortable in stillness, in quiet, just sitting, breathing. Keeping the mind alert, aware of each sound, each thought, each physical sensation. Yet concerned with nothing but sitting, breathing. And with the body still, rested, and the speech quiet, aware of all sounds, and the mind learning to settle. Know what it's like to just sit and breathe. Knowing with each breath, there's nothing else to do. Nowhere else to go. No one else to be. Everything beautiful, exactly as it is. Sitting, breathing. Once again, taking 3 deep breaths, slowly. As you slowly open your eyes, slowly beginning to move. And most important, the practice of meditation is to recognize how you feel now, immediately after, compare this to how you typically feel throughout your day. Recognize the difference, if there is one. Ask yourselves how you prefer to feel every day for the rest of your life. And realize however you feel now, if it's quiet, calm, and still, or a busy mind, racing mind, whatever you're sitting with at this moment, has nothing to do with anything I said. It's nothing to do with how you sit, hold the hands or cross the legs. It's nothing to do with the sounds around us or anything else for that matter. It has everything to do with your own mind and your own mind's reaction to an external condition. This is what the Buddha called pratitya samuppada, means dependent origination. This is the basis of the Buddha's awakening. The word Buddha simply means awakened. He was a human being no different than any one of us who began to understand why he suffered, why he got angry, sad, depressed, stressed, anxious. He began to understand the causal relationship of all phenomena. And what that means, very simply, for all of us, regardless of where you come from or what you believe in or where you think you're going, your whole life is filled with things that happen. You react. More stuff happens. More reactions. That's it. This practice of meditation is learning what it's like to respond to something quietly, peacefully, still. Because for most of us, the way you responded to the last 20 minutes is quite different from how you respond to everything else that's happening throughout your day. So all we're working on is closing the gap where the way you feel now is closer to how you feel always. Just as driven, motivated, productive, successful, whatever that means to you in your respective lives. But with a mind that's steady, clear, focused, distracted by nothing, disturbed by no one, not even those drivers. This practice is not easy. It's not necessarily fun. It is not an escape, as often people think it is. It is direct perception into the present moment. And very often that present moment is incredibly difficult and challenging. And this practice is learning to face life, reality, as it is. We spend so much time wrapped up in the past or worried about future that we often forget to pay attention to what's happening right now. And when we do that, we also tend to forget to be grateful and appreciate all we have in our life right now. For whatever reason, we don't have enough time to get into it this morning, that gets overlooked quite a bit. But learning to have gratitude and appreciation for just waking up today, being able to breathe, being able to walk outside, being able to have food to eat, clothes to wear, shelter. That's where it starts. But very often those things are not enough. And so we do what the Buddha said is the reason we suffer. We crave and we desire more or different. And so we are challenged each day. And these challenges will never stop. They'll never go away. They will change forms. They will change people, right? Meaning you may have a certain set of challenges in your life, whether it's a person or place or thing, and that's your current set of challenges in your life, but that will change in the future. It will be other people or other places or other things that will challenge you. And if we can recognize that, then it allows us to say, okay, well, if these are the challenges I'm facing right now, how can I change? Not so the challenges necessarily go away, meaning the situation necessarily goes away, but our view and our perception of the situation shifts. And then it allows us to be with things in kind of a gentler, kinder way. But this is a practice, and it does take time. It's not a quick fix. It's not a 6-week course that all of a sudden everything is great again. This is your entire life that will be filled with people and places and things not doing what we want them to, unfortunately. And I know I get it. If every person and every driver and every place would just do everything exactly how we want, then we'd be fine. But that, my friends, is not going to happen. So meditation is free. Buddhist practice is free. It's sitting, breathing, learning to be kind to yourself and everybody around you. And at the very foundation of it all is just becoming aware of your thoughts, of your words, and of your actions. So simple awareness. So I'd like to open up to questions, meditation, Buddhist practice. For me, I always really just prefer to respond to what's on your mind. Did you have a... Okay, I didn't know. I couldn't tell. There's a glare, so I don't know if you were itching your arm or raising your hand. But yeah, please.
Must be my aura.
That's all right.
Yeah, so we went to Idaho Island Palm Springs. We had a lot of opportunities with other drivers, and we were practicing, may I be safe, may we be safe, may we all be safe. So when the trigger happened, we just switched to that.
Yeah.
Without all the judgment about why they drive that way. It was a fear. It was a fear of being injured.
Mm-hmm.
Just plain safety for all of us.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you.
Wouldn't have done that before I was meditating.
Yep. Yeah. Definitely. For those not with us that didn't hear, the comment was on a recent drive to Idlewild, Palm Springs, and just doing kind of the prayer, the mantra of "May I be safe, they may be safe, may they be safe, may we all be safe," something to that effect, and that shifted your journey. And a lot of it is the fear of safety. But when you shifted your approach to "may we all be safe," then it made it a little bit easier. And that, I think the last thing you said was you wouldn't have done that prior to learning a meditation practice.
Yes, because I found peace in meditation, and I wanted to experience it in the real world, not just when I'm sitting still.
Right. And that's the key that I always say for anyone who might be new. What you just said was that you wanted to experience peace in the real world, not just when you're sitting still. And as I often or always say, we don't practice meditation to be good at meditation, right? We're not monks, we're not nuns, we're not spending, 20 hours of our day in deep meditative practices. We're engaging in the world, we're engaging in traffic, we're engaging in work, we're engaging with family, friends, relationships, all those things. We are engaging in society very heavily. And it is in those environments that we want to have that same sense of peace and calm and quiet. Because even in meditation, that sense of peace and calm and quiet, where is it coming from? Yourself. And who is that same person that's with you when you're driving on the road? Yourself. So what this teaches us is we can carry that feeling everywhere. So thank you.
Just to kind of follow on that, because it is like a fight or flight response. So when if you're practicing not reacting, then there's also that space for compassion to happen.
Yeah.
Which is just a nice practice.
Yeah, so what was shared was when you're practicing not reacting, it allows the space for compassion to arise. Right? Because when we react so quickly, there's no space for anything to arise other than our initial reaction.
If I think, oh, you've done it, but then hope you.
Right.
I hope whatever's causing you in a hurry, we're all safe today.
Right. And that immediate.
My actions are more. Set.
Yes, and the challenge is for many of us, maybe not all of us, but very often, and that's why I gave that example of, hey, watch what happens when you're on the road and somebody wants to get in front of you. Because for whatever reason, our immediate reaction isn't always, oh, sure, go right ahead. Oh, sure, cut me off. Oh, sure, get in front of me at the grocery store. Like how dare somebody get in front of us at the grocery store line? Because that extra 3 minutes is definitely going to ruin our lives. Right? But the anger that we feel for 30 minutes because we let the person go in front of us. And there's another practice, and I got so many seemingly stupid, silly practices, but next time you're at the grocery store in line, and not just because the person behind you has one item, but be in the line at the grocery store with all your stuff, and the person behind you with all their stuff, and turn to the person and say, hey, do you want to go in front of me? I mean, they'll look at you like, why? You know. But once you get over the initial, like, why? Just say, well, I'm, whatever you want to say. You can just say, well, I'm practicing learning to be patient. And so I'd like you to go ahead of me. They'll think you're weird, but that's fine. I mean, this is for your practice, not theirs. And, again, this isn't the intention of it, but I'd actually teach them a lesson too. Like, wow, people are kind.
What if the Buddhist is wrong and never get anywhere?
Well, I do. The comment was, what if they're Buddhist as well? You never get anywhere. You end up just going backwards, right? And you end up in the back of the store. I do appreciate the comment and the kindness about Buddhists, but I hate to, and I don't think you meant it this way, but just to shatter anybody else's, the Buddhists are just as mean as the non-Buddhists. I just want to throw that out there for anybody who, again, I'm not saying you were insinuating that, but very often there's this idea that, the Buddhists have everything figured out and they're kind. Yeah, we're as much of a pain as everybody else is. We're just aware of it, which doesn't excuse it, So, other thoughts, questions? Let me check in here, see what's going on. Good morning, all. Welcome, Ashley, for the first time. Ashley, looking to learn more about Buddhist religion for multicultural class in my master's program. Be careful, Ashley, because I went with a friend 19 years ago to a Buddhist temple because my friend Kristen had to learn about Buddhist practice for a master's program at San Diego State. And 19 years later, here I am. So be careful. This could ruin your life forever, but glad you're joining us. I feel those thoughts depend on your state of mind. Yes, definitely. Jade, hi Jade. Oh, right on. Welcome back. Glad you. So Jade visited San Diego, had a good time here. The question I have, if you're taking them online, how to stop putting so much emphasis on your physical appearance when you may not like what you see right now. So yeah, great question. How to stop putting so much emphasis on your physical appearance when you may not like what you see right now. So there's a lot that comes to mind with this question. And, there's kind of well, let me introduce it this way. The Buddhist teachings on impermanence tells us that we are all always changing. Everything is always changing. All phenomena is always changing, including what we look like, right? Now, we were babies. Clearly we changed. It'd be kind of funny if we were all still looking like babies, but we were adults in here, right? Everything is changing. So it's very easy to say, well, I don't enjoy, or what, I want to use your words. Okay. So to me, the way you phrased it is interesting because you said so much emphasis on it when you might not like what you look like right now. Okay. So I know, Jade, you're not here in the room, but show of hands, how many of you like what you look like right now? I saw one hand, a maybe, a delayed hand, and a kind of. And then Kara chimed in, right? So, Jade, I guess I'll add this. Most people, for whatever reason, don't like what they look like. This is the sad part. The question is why? And in Buddhist teachings, we talk about going against the stream. There are no billions of dollars on billboards up there telling you that what you look like right now is perfect. Nothing. Nothing out there says, you're good. Why? Because that wouldn't make any money. So our entire society, our entire culture, our entire system is built on telling you that you're not good enough. That you need this shirt, you need this hat, you need these shoes. That you need to be skinnier, that you need to be heavier, that you need to be taller, that you need to be shorter, that you need to be whatever. Everything is spent. Billions and billions and billions of dollars are spent every single day conditioning you to think that you should look a certain way. And oh, by the way, that's been happening to you since the day you were born. So it's always important to understand, to your question, that it's kind of what I say a lot is it's not alone. You're not alone. It's not your fault. Meaning we have been conditioned. Buddhism talks about causes and conditions. And this conditioned mind, everything from the beginning, nothing was ever okay or good enough. Nobody said go pick out ugly clothes and put them on. Well, I shouldn't say that. That's not fair. Many people around the world say just put on clothes and grateful. But let's just say many other people, many privileged people, many other groups of individuals, potentially many sitting in this room, had a lot of choices and a lot of options. And all of those choices and all those options led to us judging and critiquing what we look like. Do I like this shirt? Do I like this haircut? Do I like these pants? So much time is spent, our entire lives, on that. And unfortunately, we're left feeling like it's never good enough. Most people come into Buddhist practice or meditation because they feel that they're not good enough. Whether it's physically, mentally, or emotionally. And so we seek and crave and desire something to make us feel better. But what the Buddha was teaching was, okay, you're good. Just be kind. So anytime there's a question around how do we get over this emphasis and this attachment and craving and desire to look a certain way, I always want us to understand that what you're trying to overcome, Jade and everybody else who's in your situation, which is most people, you're trying to overcome something that you've been doing your entire life. And that is incredibly difficult. But when you start to recognize that it's not your fault, then at least it takes some of the pressure and burden off. Right? Another teaching that I think is very important here is to look at non-attachment. The Buddhist teachings on non-attachment. To not attach, non-attachment doesn't mean you don't care, but to not attach to this view that you have of what you think you're supposed to look like and what that actually means. And that if you look a certain way, this idea that that changes something about you. It doesn't. What you look like changes nothing about you. It might change your perceptions of you. It might change the way other people look at you. But I'm talking about the heart of who you are. What you look like has nothing to do with that. But we have a very hard time seeing the separation between those two things because we've spent our entire lives. Any of you look at a mirror this morning? How many times? How many times? Who wants to play along and be honest? How many times did you look at your hair in the morning today, Tim?
Oh, several.
Several, right? He's bald, right? But we still spend so much time in front of the mirror. Does my hair look okay? Do my eyes look okay? Do my cheeks look okay? Does my shirt look okay? So much time. One practice, Jade, is, and for everybody, whatever mirror, and I'm not saying break things, but if you have a mirror that you always look at that you can take down, take it down. Stop attaching to this idea that you have to look a certain way. If you don't want to take it down, or if you can't take it down, try not looking at it. Put tape over it or something, like a sheet of paper over it or something. Try not looking at it. How many of you get in the car and the first thing you do is look in the rearview mirror to see how you look? You're in the car. You're laughing. Do you do that? You're both laughing, actually. Do you want to? Why? Any reason?
I'm overly concerned with how I look and how people perceive me.
Say that again, louder.
I'm overly concerned with how I look and how people perceive me.
Overly concerned with how I look and how people perceive me. Thank you for sharing that. And being vulnerable and being honest with this practice is so important. So try not and see what happens. And the funny thing is, we're in the car. Unless you're with somebody or maybe the stranger pulls up next to you, nobody even sees you. But we do it out of habit. We're so conditioned out of habit. It's important to add that because we do these things, don't make us bad people. I'm just saying this for those who maybe don't know me. They don't make us bad people. They don't mean we're bad Buddhists. It doesn't mean it's wrong. It's just the awareness that we are so overly concerned with what we look like and how people perceive us. Why? Because it's been happening to us our whole lives. So we have to do things to try to break through that. Such as try not looking in the mirror for a day. If you can't do it for a day, do it for a half a day. If you can't do it for half a day, do it in an hour. Right? If you look in the mirror in the car 5 times, try doing it just twice. Like set up practices that allow us to cut through all of this sense of, as the Buddha said, the sense of self, this ego, this pride, these things that we think are so important. And they're not. But these are the same things that make us miserable. Because then we spend our whole lives trying to please whom? Everybody else. And we've completely neglected ourselves. Other thoughts, questions? Yeah, so then she replied with, thank you, that helps. To give context, it's hormonal acne I've never experienced before, and I'm now 24, so it's coming to terms with it and accepting it's my health journey. Yeah, and a lot of it is just, it's embracing and accepting this is our journey. So, other thoughts, questions? So in that question, we look at the Buddhist teachings, and I just want to, to give it like Buddhist terms around it for those who might be here for a class. You're looking at the teaching of impermanence, that we're always changing. Our physical body is always changing. We're looking at non-attachment, the Buddhist teachings on attaching to our views that we think are important, attaching to this idea that what others think of us is important. So, impermanence, non-attachment. Other questions? Yeah?
Is there a creation story?
No. The question was, is there a creation story in the Buddhist tradition? No. Do you have a question?
Just a general question, how do you learn to look at your phone less often?
Yeah, that's a great question. How do you learn to look at your phone less often? Do you have your phone?
I lost my phone.
Oh, well, there you go.
I've been freaking out
Yeah.
about it all day.
You've been, say again?
I've been thinking about how I don't have it and whether someone is contacting me or if I'm missing out on some opportunity.
Oh, you're missing out on everything. I mean, you know how many likes you probably got on a post this morning without your phone, and you haven't seen them all. You know? When did you lose it?
About an hour ago.
You're in panic mode right now. I can see it on your face. It's funny that you said you don't have it, because what I was going to do was, when I asked you where it was, I was going to take it away from you. I do this with the college kids a lot, and when the questions come up around attachment, things like that, and the phone is always like mine. It's within a foot of them, if not like drilled into their arms. And so when you take it away and you see the panic of like, oh no, there goes my life. part of this is coming back to, and I'll kind of close on this thought, coming back to this very similar to what I was talking about before, is that we are so conditioned. And you now have, how long have you been using a phone like religiously?
About 10 years.
10 years. So for 10 years of your life, your entire life has existed inside this tiny little machine. And when we lose it, it's like we lost a limb. But we lost so much more than that, in our minds at least. We lost this idea that all of our friends, all of our communication, all of our schedule, you know, there are important elements to these things. Don't get me wrong here as I completely bash these things. My life operates in this thing. So I'm coming from that place as well. But our entire world revolves around what is inside these little machines. And that is so unhealthy. This is a great practice period for you because, well, let me ask you this. So we're going to be done here in a couple minutes. Where are you going right after here?
To look for my phone.
To look for your phone, right? You two came together. Could you possibly, are you hungry?
We just ate.
0 for 2. Do you like to take a walk outside?
Yeah.
Could you possibly go to like the park or something and just go on a walk for an hour without looking for your phone first?
Yeah, definitely.
The only way to practice things like patience is to do things where you lack patience. The only way to practice non-attachment, which is what you're asking about in Buddhist teachings, the attachments we have to people, places, and things, is to do things that practice non-attachment. So there's this craving the Buddha taught that we suffer because of craving and desire. We're constantly craving things. We're constantly desiring things. You have an opportunity, whether you wanted it or not, to practice cutting through craving, cutting through desire, and cutting through attachment by not immediately. I mean, I'm impressed that you even came here and gave yourself an hour to not attach to it, right? See if you can extend that. Now, if you still had your phone on you, like many of us do, the practice is to set it down for an hour in another room, if it's safe, and walk away. Safe meaning, nobody who may be dying needs to reach you or something like that. Practice time away from it. Because if we destroy ourselves being attached to our phones, what are we going to be like when we lose things that are really important? Like people. And the sad part is for many folks, our level of judging people and phones, sometimes people become more attached to these things. Because there is a virtual reality. Not ultimate truth reality, but a virtual reality that exists inside these things that is not real. Neither is ultimate reality, but that wouldn't help my example here. What you're attached to is all of the sensations that get fed into us from these things. Instant gratification. Instant just, wow. All that stuff. Instant news. Just constantly bombarded. Feeding into our craving and desire and seeking for everything immediately. You have a great opportunity right now to practice it. And then when you do recover your phone, and I do hope you find it or you get it back, you get another one, because I know if I lost this, my life becomes incredibly difficult because everything I manage is through here. So just on a practical sense, I do see the tremendous value of them. But for a lot of us, and I guess your question is not about like, oh no, I don't have my calendar. It's like, wow, I'm really feeling this anxiety because I feel like everything is crumbling without my phone. Is that a closer? Yeah. So there's a serious addiction there. And you're not alone. You know, in the recovery world, you know, there's an expression for those who don't know it. You know, one day at a time. So here, you have one day to try to see what it's like to be without your phone for a few hours. Pay attention to that panic, that anxiety, that fear, and realize, wow, that's not healthy. And then begin to practice things that can help you cut through that. Does that help?
Yeah,
For sure. All right, so I'm going to close on that. We'll join palms. May the benefit of this practice be shared with all beings in all directions. May any merit gained from this practice be transferred to the more than 6 million lives that have been lost during this pandemic and their family and friends who continue to suffer at this time. To all of those in Ukraine who have lost lives in the surrounding areas and their family and friends who suffer. And those who lost lives in Texas, the children and adults and their friends and family who suffer. May they all be at peace. May we all be at peace and free from suffering. All right, just a few quick announcements. Thanks all for being here. My name is Jeff. I'm a Dharma bum. We opened up this temple 15 years ago to introduce Buddhist practice to those who show up. Those of us who lead, we're not monks, we're not nuns, we're not gurus, we're not masters, we're not teachers, we're not looking for students, we're just practitioners. We do our best to take our understanding of Buddhist teachings and put it into terms that hopefully make sense to those who show up. Every night we have different practices going on, different people from a different Buddhist tradition. Monday through Friday, 8 and 8:30, we do a morning meditation. So you can come at 8 or 8:30 or come for both. It's just a silent sit if you want to start your day that way. Recovery Sangha, so anyone battling addiction. And I'm very serious, like drugs, alcohol, phone, they're serious, heavy addictions. And it's something for all of us to really be mindful of. Family Sangha started again. Day of Silence retreats have started again. So everything's on the website. Check it out. And then we do have today, we used to do these pretty regularly, maybe every 4 to 6 months, like full-on temple clean. So about 2 weeks ago, we announced that today from 12 to 3, we're going to do a temple clean. So if anybody wants to stick around, you would be deeply appreciated. Travis will have everything out there, kind of a list of stuff we're doing to clean inside the main hall and the library, the stairwells and things like that into the downstairs. So if you want to stick around for 30 minutes, for an hour, for 3 hours, whatever, we definitely need help. So as I always say, we are the cleaning crew. We don't have one, we are it. So thanks all for being here. Appreciate you. And thanks everybody for joining online and your thoughts and comments. And we'll see you soon.